Hi, I'm Nicole and welcome. I just wanted to show you around my garden. So I'm going to start in the front yard. So here, I've kind of been figuring out as we go. We've been here about 6 years. And so this is the first time we've been here this long in one location. And so because of that, I'm actually starting to find what's actually working out. So I planted zinnias. This is my first time. And I am just amazed at how well they worked out. I have zinnias on the front and the back, and I had planted really small pots, 2 pots of lavender, and they've just taken off. This whole area was filled with sinkholes from where the person that lived here before had trees and whatnot, so I put in bulbs. And so the yard is always changing, but I'm starting to get a good harvest and just beautiful flowers. So this is just a patch between us and the neighbor. So over here, like I said, we've got zinnias and lavender, we got daylilies. Right now it needs a good cleanup, but we have daylilies and irises that bloom through the spring. We have some mums. I have another mum over here, and this year I decided to add in a little garden patch just to try and utilize as much space of the yard that I could. I was trying to see what I could get away with. I do live in with a homeowners association, so I put in some eggplant and some jalapenos. I have chamomile in the front and some echinacea. So this is the first year echinacea. I'm trying to put in an herbal garden, medicinal plants, and I'm learning all about that. It's kind of exciting for me. But this is a really good spot for all of my fruit plants like eggplant and peppers. So next year I'm gonna have to rotate it out. But as you can see, if you can zoom in, you can see how much I just pulled 4 or 5 long, these are Japanese eggplant. So this one I actually got from the store. This is, I believe I got it from Home Depot. So I have started a lot of stuff from seed this year. I was really excited about seeing how much I could produce for my family. So, but these were actually from Home Depot. And then this is some echinacea I put in a few years ago, plus my azaleas. I've got the newspaper. I'm really trying to choke out the Bermuda grass that's here. So that's still a work in progress. I need to get some more mulch in and get that handled. And weeds are always needing to be done. So if we come over this way, we are actually harvesting over the last few weeks, and probably another couple weeks, we'll be harvesting off this big fig tree. This is probably about a 30-year-old fig tree. So this I call like a tree of life. We got to catch it in the very beginning before all the insects and all the wildlife have found it. So right now we're in process of, we've probably picked a good 70 to 80 pounds of figs off of it. So this is huge. I've dehydrated the figs, I've made jam, and I've made barbecue sauce. So we love the fig tree. We get deer, rabbits, squirrels, birds, all kinds of insects on this tree. So that we are dealing with. Also, I've put in some shade-loving bulbs. I believe in plant it once and let stuff grow. So that's what I'm trying to find, what works for my yard. So I don't remember the names of them, but they're doing really good. So, and this is our tulip magnolia tree. It blooms a couple times a year. And then over here we have a Japanese maple. And in the spring, it's really pretty in purple. So this year we just had our roof redone. We had some hail damage. So new roof, new gutters. So we're trying to recoup from that. My flower bed is really taking a toll because of all the construction that we had going on. I put in some new zinnias. We just recently replaced some azaleas. I'm having an issue with not enough acid, so I've got to really feed my azalea bushes. And I have gardenias as well. So we're trying to figure it out. We need to get in there and weed and get some pine needles in. So I have some zinnias here that I planted from seed. And I have some salvia in the back. So the grass is taking over this space. I do have some strawberry plants in there as well. Camera's trying to help me with the weeds. So, good girl. And I have a sage up front. So a lot of this is just ornamental. So I've got strawberries and sage that are actually edible. On the far end of the bed, I have a rosemary bush and oregano, and those do really well. I'm in zone 8. I'm in South Carolina, so we're pretty hot throughout the year. We're hot from like March until March until October is our hot season. So let's go this way. I have a section over here that I call my wilderness area. Oh, also, if you want to show them, we just recently planted 4 pecan trees. When you plant a pecan tree, make sure you check to see when you can see the pecans right there. We're so excited. It's brand new pecan trees. You have to buy them in pairs just so that they'll germinate, and you got to make sure that they germinate at certain sections. So you definitely want to look them up. I believe this is a Stewart, and I'm not sure. I think we got 2 Stewarts and 2 other ones. So we have 2 right here on this edge of our property, and we have 2 on the other side of the property. And so once they get full size, they're supposed to they could give 75 to 150 pounds of nuts per tree. Now they'll get really tall, so don't put them too close to the house. This is actually about 35 feet off the house. So you want to make sure that you give plenty of space. We also know that our septic system is over there. So we had it pumped and we found out where our septic system is. So you want to look for that so that you don't put a tree in a spot that's going to cause problems later. All right, so this is the wilderness section. I've kind of let it go wild. This year has gone really wild. I normally put in wildflowers. So what we have is a lot of daylilies. And this right here, when I first moved here, I wasn't sure what it was. I have grown up in the north. This right here is actually wisteria, which I think is gorgeous and smells beautiful in somebody else's yard. So this, I gave it a chance to grow. It didn't grow very well. I gave it an arbor, and it just didn't grow well. So what I've been doing instead is I've been trimming it out, because this will take over everywhere. Like I said, this has gone really wild. I've been focusing my energy on the actual edible part of the yard. So this hasn't really had as much love and attention. So I got to get in here. This one right here is mullein, which I found out it was part of a wildflower blend that I just threw out a couple years ago scratched the ground and threw it out there and let it come up, and it came back again this year. So this is actually a medicinal. So I'm going to see, I don't know, it looks like the Japanese beetles have really been over here having a heyday. And I have bee balm as well right here. This is my bee balm. And I've adopted some plants. I've got friends that have given me bulbs, like my irises and my daylilies up front. And this one right here, I'm trying to remember, I forget the name, but this one right here was also given to me. So I've been very lucky when we moved here that I had people that were just giving away plants. And over here, I have a hydrangea. It's getting so big. The whole yard has gotten really big this year. So I've got to trim back, and don't mind the weeds, okay? We're focusing where we can. You got to live too, right? So over here is where I have my 3 garden beds. This is where the beginning was. So I just planted this whole bed. You see the daylilies in front, and I have a touch of dill still going. We don't have kale in here anymore. That's where I had kale and broccoli in here. I'm gonna finish out the year with some more brassicas in this bed, and then I'm gonna get it ready for fall. So I planted, it's all full right now with broccoli, and then there's some thyme on the end. And then in this bed over here, I just pulled out carrots about a month ago, and I have cauliflower. And then these are leeks. That's the first time I've had carrots actually grow to a good size. And then I have leeks that I started in the spring, and they're still growing. I didn't realize they were a long grower. So a lot of what I'm working with is first time, so it's kind of exciting to see how it's going. I put down, I was harvesting some of my herbs, and so this is lavender, and I have sage stems and rosemary. I'm trying to see, I don't know that it's going to work, but I'm trying to discourage some of the cabbage bugs off of my cauliflower, hoping that they don't attack. So I'm hoping that some of the pungent smells will help deter them. So we'll see how that works. This bed right now is waiting to be sown, so I'm getting ready to put some new seeds in, but I have some rhubarb there still. So there's not much to look at right now. And then this is my 5x5 bed. I try to recycle what I can. So this right here is, I've got peas sown on both sides of my trellis here, and I have radishes in front, and then I have like I said, peas on this side, and then I put turnip and green beans down the middle. So I'm really excited to see what ends up happening. I could get so much food, or I could get nothing. We'll just have to wait and see how it works out. Alrighty, so this is our main garden. So I finally got a garden with a fence. This has taken me a few years. Like I said, we've been here 6 years. I didn't know if it would keep the deer out and the rabbits or whoever has been eating and munching on my garden beds that were over there. So I've tried in this location the last 2 years of growing food. I even tried with a plastic mesh fence. I didn't know that it would work. I was like, let's just try something. And that was a 3-foot high plastic mesh fence. That's what I used on my trellis for my peas. So anyways, like I said, I like to recycle. So this year I actually have a fence. I wanted it to be 6 foot high, which would probably be somewhere around here above my head. But unfortunately, with all of COVID, that wasn't available. So we had to use what was available, and this is what we've got. So this is actually a 3-foot high fence. So, but knock on wood, we're doing really good. We've had a few visitors. We've had a turtle and some frogs and insects, birds. The birds have found our sunflowers. But for the most part, we have not had any predators or any critters coming into the garden. So I consider myself blessed. As you can see in my earlier video, I was showing what I did was I took about a 2 foot, 2.5, 3 foot space around the garden and kind of built almost like a moat, if you will, with stuff that would hopefully deter animals and insects that I didn't want, mostly the animals. So far I guess it's working. If nothing else, I really like it. I've never had this many flowers in my garden before, and I just love it. And these roses right now are gorgeous. I wish you could smell them. I think I still have the tag. It is actually Double Delight hybrid tea rose. So I just really love how they do the deep color, the color change. So they're gorgeous, and they smell like old-fashioned roses, which it's interesting. So anyways, come on in and I'll show you my garden. If I can get my gate. There we go. This was a family build, so it's ever evolving. I have used, like I said, I'm trying to be thrifty, so I've used bricks and pavers and logs and everything. My garden is not tidy right now, so I apologize in advance, but it's been hot over the weekend, so I have pulled and weeded this weekend. My tomatoes are so happy. I did have some damage right here, so I have been pulling and cutting out branches, trying to give some more airflow to my tomatoes. I had one that just wasn't producing at all that I just ended up pulling out because it was showing too much damage. I need to keep keeping that in. So with that, I have had on these tomatoes right here, they've been doing really good. And I got confused when I did the tomatoes. So I started with 2 tomato varieties from seed. I did the Amish paste and the San Marzino. So I don't know which one was which. So I have these over here. Ooh, look at the bugs. So I'm gonna have to come in and spray. I'm not quite sure what bug that is. See that red bug? I don't know if that's what that is, but this one has had more damage and has had a little bit of blight on it, so I fed it to try and help with the blight because that's a calcium deficiency. And I'm also looking at, this is lantana right here, and so this is a perennial. That's pretty much what I plant is perennials. And so I'm learning that this, see, I don't know what you are, but I don't think you need to be in here. So I might have to get in here and pick off. I don't know if you're the beginning of an aphid or what you are, but I don't think I want you in here. So I'm gonna have to come out here with a soapy water bucket and pick them and put them in the soapy water. So I have eggplant here that are not doing so well, and I think my lantana is taking up most of the sunshine. But you can see over on the other side, the eggplant, and that's the flea beetle on the leaves. So this spot definitely, so I'm learning as we go. So that's my lantana and my tomatoes over here. And these are my peppers. Oh, I've got another eggplant. So my peppers keep growing taller, 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 and they're just not, I haven't gotten too much in the way of peppers this year. So I got bell peppers, behind the cucumbers, and these are poblanos. Look at that beauty right there. So that's a beautiful one right there. We've got some new ant pile in my garden. We'll have to handle that one too. So my poblanos are getting ready. And then my cucumbers. And this branch of cucumbers has, I'm always looking because this is actually, oh, that was for my dill. Let's see. You really have to dig to find the cucumbers in here because there's
one right there.
Where?
In the middle.
Oh, this one, yeah. Sometimes 1 minute there's no cucumbers, and then the next minute I've missed one and it's gotten too big. So, but the cucumbers are looking rough, but actually they're still producing. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to take it out, but then I get more. And then you can see down on the path. Oh, see, there's one. I'm down on the path. Look at that beautiful one. Wasn't there very, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's a perfect size, and it's still pokey. So that one's beautiful. It's hiding right here with my artichoke. So I wasn't sure if these were gonna make it. I planted them late, but I said, let me try anyways. And so I did put some flowers in. Those were beneficial flowers that I planted. Be careful, right behind you is the sunflower. The sunflowers have gotten so excited. They've just taken over the yard. Here, come on, take a step forward. All right, we're gonna dance. So this is my bee balm. It's doing really well. And it's also called bergamot. And so this is in the mint family. And so I've harvested this, and you can use this in tea. It's supposedly, from what I've read, help with congestion, but definitely take a look for yourself on any herbs, because I am not an herbalist. I just like to tinker around at home. This is my first time growing green beans. So I gotta come out here and, well, maybe I'll let it go a little bit more. I think it might be time to feed. I gotta find out what's going on right here. It looks like we've got something going on. So I need to get in here. I just pulled out, we had a golden Hubbard squash and a couple of zucchinis plants and an acorn squash, and they were all along here. And I got infested with squash bugs, squash borers, and then the aphids. So that's what I'm struggling with right now. So we'll see how they're doing. I got nasturtium. They look like they're almost done. So this one right here, I've got to pull this one out. She was doing okay yesterday, but she still was green. So the aphids have definitely taken over. Over here, the spaghetti squash is gone. So my garden is starting to get in transition as far as going from a summer garden to a fall garden. And this is normally when I lose plants to the bugs, I kind of give up hope and just give up. And sometimes it's been not enough water. We are a camping family, and so normally this time of year we're off at summer camp. But one of the benefits of COVID is we've been here. So I've been in the garden. I know you can't tell because of all the weeds that I've been here, but I am constantly pulling the weeds. So this is cantaloupe. And it was looking really rough, but we've had some really good rains. So I still have my fingers crossed that we might get a cantaloupe. If you look, we have the flowers all through the flowers. So I have hope that we might get some fruit this year. I did a second planting of tomatoes in addition to the 12 that are over there producing fruit right now, and they're all over the yard. So I planted and started under a grow light in June, and I planted them in July. And so now we have like this one right here. This is a new tomato plant. So we'll see. Our frost date, I believe, is October 21st. So we will usually keep growing tomatoes right through, and these are all indeterminate, so they'll just keep on growing. So I have planted around the tomatoes. I have lettuce and carrots, and then I just planted some Savoy cabbage. I got a great recipe for Savoy cabbage and leeks with a little bit of grated potato and heavy cream. Really yummy. I got that when I was cooking in Switzerland. All right, over here, forgot my garden rake. I have some carrots. So when I watched on Roots and Refuge farm doing what they do on the YouTube video is they plant their carrot seeds and then they cover it with boards. Well, I didn't have enough little boards, so I used a little bit of mulch. We'll see. It's to help when you water your carrots so that the seedlings don't wash away, so that they can germinate. So you come back in a few weeks and check, and once they get green, then you pull the wood up. My carrot harvest I had in the other bed did really well, so it was a great tip. So I'm going to continue that. So here's some more tomatoes. These 3 tomatoes I actually got from the store. Those are cherry tomatoes. And then right beside it, I planted lettuce in front of the tomato. And then right here is red cabbage. So I like to do a braised red cabbage. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to harvest this in the fall or if these are spring. I'm still waiting to see. I'm learning. This is my first time doing a fall harvest, so I'm very excited. I just planted over here. I have, these are my broccoli. I don't know if you can see them in here. These are a hybrid. So they're interspersed with the sunflowers. I'm hoping that with the sunflowers, it'll give it a little bit of shade so it doesn't get too hot. Over here, I'm waiting a minute. So I planted lettuce next to these tomatoes and lettuce on the other bed. So I'm gonna wait a few weeks. That way I don't get swamped in lettuce. So I'm gonna, in a few more weeks, I'm gonna add some lettuce next to this tomatoes. These are celery root. They're still, this is my first time growing celery root. So they're gonna go probably September or October before I harvest them. And I plan to use the, I had to thin them down. I had some that I didn't realize were growing right beside. And so they're getting two, and they're roots, so you don't want them right on top of each other. So I just thinned them down and washed them up real good, and I put them in the freezer. So I will put them in my chicken stock, because celery is one of your main ingredients for mirepoix. So that's celery, onions, and carrots. So that's, always save your scraps as you're able. I have my tomatoes here are doing good. This tomato, was it this one? Has been, no, that one there was dealing with blight. Alrighty, I think we can Is that everybody in the garden? Yes. And my sunflowers, I planted the sunflowers. I did not expect them to grow this tall. They were supposed to be like 5-foot sunflowers, but they're really pretty, and I've started harvesting the flowers and bringing them in the house. The zinnias, I'm just like floored with how gorgeous they are. So the zinnias and the sunflowers, and I put my basil, when I harvest my basil, into my flower vase, and that helps keep them fresh so that they don't wilt in your fridge when you want to use them fresh. So I've done that, and the birds are so tickled pink by eating the seeds from the sunflower, and they've gotten tall enough that when I sit on my back porch, I can see them peeking their faces over the wall from the pool. So, and at the base, I don't know how it's doing, at the base of our sunflowers is actually artichoke and some peas. So, like I said, this is definitely a garden in progress, and this is spaghetti squash that somehow, some way is still alive. It's fighting with aphids right now. I've thought about using diatomaceous earth or neem. I might get out here, or just some soapy water, just to take care of some of these bugs that are starting to get my garden. So, although Roots and Refuge, she says that this is the time that she gives up the battle and lets nature take over for a few weeks and changes gears and gets into the fall garden. Okay, so I actually have a little bit of container gardens as well. This is kind of another place where I started. So when I did some seedlings back in June, I filled in my pots because I had brassicas. So I have tomatoes, I have calendula, I have lavender, nasturtium, I have lemongrass, and cucumbers, peppers, I have lemon balm, some onions, and this is fennel. Something has been eating my fennel, so I'm going to plant some more, but I found out that fennel doesn't play well with others, or others don't play well with it. Well, dill, but then you get cross-pollination, so I'm not planting it near my dill. And this, that kind of looks like dill or fennel, this is actually asparagus. So I'm very excited. This is one that got moved into a pot, and I have a whole bed that's full of asparagus, and this is the 3rd year of asparagus, so it's doing really good, and you can harvest. So over here, I want to show you this. Like I said, I had so many tomatoes. We just put in this brand new walkway, and I still need to do the edge. It's not done yet, that's for sure. So I had tons of seedlings. So I have I believe I have 12 tomato plants over here. That's almost kind of an experiment of how well they're going to grow around the pool pump. And I have on the other side of the wall, over by my canna lilies and my gladiolas and my irises, I also have more tomatoes. So that's kind of my experiment to see what I can get to produce in with my flowers throughout the summer. And here is my asparagus. Is starting to go to seed, this feathery, and then it's so huge. But it actually, the other day, was still giving me asparagus, a spring vegetable. So what I love about this is, like the asparagus, I have artichokes planted, asparagus, artichokes, rhubarb, these are all perennials. And what's awesome about that is asparagus can keep giving you vegetables 25 years. So I'm in my 40s now. In 25 years, there'll be less bending, hopefully, that I won't have to be doing, and my yard can feed me. So with that, I say thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.